What is up, my brothers from another mother? So, I might have to create a brand new series called Driving Into the Sun with Rich or something like that, because I seem to find myself recording videos in the car now as I'm heading into the office when I need to go in during the week. So I got a question here that came up on the community tab. How long ago was this? 4 weeks ago. Okay, I am well behind. And Paul, who on the tab left me this question, I'm just going to read it off to you. He's basically talking about being economically self-sufficient, and he ties it into advice in starting an online business such as a successful YouTube channel or blog. So you're going to see in a moment why I might have to call this series Driving Into the Sun with Rich, because we're about to drive into the sun with Rich. All right, first of all, I've had this question come up quite a lot. Let's throw in the sunglasses because I'm not going to be able to do this without them. A lot of people ask me quite often, I've had my time booked on Clarity for coaching on YouTube channel creation and content and how that should work. So what I'll do is I'll give you my best tips that I've got right now. So what I've learned so far. The first thing that I want to say is if you're going to treat this job as a hobby and not a job, you're going to get paid like it's a hobby, meaning you're going to make SFA. Maybe I'll put a glossary together one day with all the acronyms I need to use because YouTube is too politically correct. So, first thing, treat it like a hobby. You're going to get paid like it's a hobby. Take it seriously, guys, and you will get paid properly for your time. First thing. Second thing that I want to add to this is, of course, you're going to press the same upload button as your favorite YouTube star. You know, it doesn't matter if it's Salamandrin, Casey Neistat, or PewDiePie. They all press the same button. So just understand you're going to have to do creative work. It's going to have to be useful to people. At the third point, make it useful. Make it useful to your core demographic, your audience. Make sure they get some value out of it. You got to deliver some sort of content that improves their lives. Usually people go to YouTube for one of two reasons. One, to be entertained. Two, to be educated. You know, the ones where you see with the makeup tutorials and the shopping hauls, there's a lot of entertainment, but, you know, I believe there's some level of education there because they're providing some tips. On the guys' channels, you're going to see the exact same thing. You know, one of my viewers mentioned a channel called Deer Meat for Dinner, and it's a guy that does videos on hunting. He lives down, I think, in Florida, and it's pretty interesting, you know, channel setup with a large audience. So, guys, you have to create some value, deliver a story and some value to it. I think it's super important to make sure that you deliver a story as well, because people still want to be entertained while they're watching your stupid head talk. I mean, I recognize that, you know, my little thing tends to be, you know, I have two studios that I record in the car and my home office. I know that when people watch me in the car, I read the comments. That's the other thing. Read the comments. Get feedback from your people, from your community. They're going to tell you what they like and what they don't like. And if you listen and double down on it, you'll find ways to optimize yourself. You know, in the car, the comments usually, I like watching the scenery around you, where you're driving, what you're up to. In the office, I tend to deal with more focused subject matter. So all of the stuff that I do for my Patreon community, I always do in the office because I want to be fully focused, and I have speaking notes. Often when I do videos for the channel publicly, the ones that don't go for Patrons, again, I've got speaking notes, maybe some shorter versions of it. In the car, like I am right now, I'm mostly speaking off the cuff, which is cool because I also enjoy kind of just like rapping about topics and subject matter from time to time as well. The next tip that I can give you is turn it into a business sooner than later. I probably waited, I don't know, maybe like at least a couple of years and 25, maybe 30,000 subscribers before I decided to do anything to monetize a channel or to turn it into a business, you know, offer anything like paid coaching. And the reason why I offered one-on-one coaching is because I got so many emails from people asking me questions. Here's my problem. Can you help me with it? Take a look at this. What should I do? I have this business, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all right, obviously you value my opinion, so I should be charging for my time. So make sure that you do turn it into a business sooner than later. I've spoken to guys that create content on YouTube that turned into a business before even 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers, where they had some sort of paid premium content. That brings me to the next thing, guys. I know that I've talked on this channel about the way YouTube behaves and treats content creators that aren't making cat videos or shopping haul videos, or coloring within the lines like Casey Neistat does, and make very politically correct sort of content. The stuff that I talk about, I recognize is not that popular. The stuff that I talk about, I know can offend some people, but I've learned the secret formula. I'm going to share this most important tip with you right now. The most important tip when you're creating content, especially if you're in my core demographic and audience, and I know that many of you guys have thought about doing this sort of stuff, is you have to recognize YouTube is an open platform. It's an open marketplace. And if you're going to have a conversation, when I first started having conversations and talking to the camera and driving around and discussing matters that I thought were relevant to help guys become better versions of themselves, I didn't use the filter that it's a public forum. And that's probably why I got included with so many channels that got slapped with the adpocalypse and they lost ad revenue, or at least an 80-90% decline, which is what I saw anyway. It's because you have to pretend like everybody in the world is listening to this conversation. It's almost like I'm having this conversation with you and I. And I know it's mostly me and one other person on the other end watching this, but there's millions of them now. It's now a multiplier. The thing that you got to remember is it's almost like sitting in a family restaurant. I tell guys it's like being in an Applebee's, or if you're in Canada, like a Swiss Chalet or something like that on a Wednesday afternoon at like 5 o'clock. And understand there's going to be families there, and some kids, and some teenagers, and some old people, and they're probably going to overhear your conversation. So use that filter if you want to become a content creator in sort of like the red pill community, or the manosphere, some people call it. Use that filter and make sure you're, I don't want to say politically correct, but just make sure, this is going to sound silly, but make sure that you're watered down enough that you don't offend the snowflakes. Which brings me to the next point. It's actually a great opportunity for premium content creation to go behind some sort of paywall. The stuff that I talk about to my Patreons, guys, oh my God, I can't upload that stuff publicly to YouTube. It's content geared specifically towards men that have dealt with some kind of trauma and are looking to become better versions of themselves and up their game, unlock a new level of achievement, if you will. Which is what, let's do a bit of a commercial break right now. Become a Patreon if you want to access my premium community of content that I can't upload to YouTube. That isn't as politically correct as the things that I talk about, that help men unlock levels of achievement they wouldn't otherwise discover and enter into a community of men. Go become a Patreon now. Link at the top of the screen. All right. And my last tip for you guys, you need to be consistent. The most important thing, I think, with YouTube is consistency. We've been bred with it. I mean, I have anyway, in my childhood, watching cable television. I knew that every Thursday at 7 p.m., Cheers was coming on and Sam Malone was going to do his dance, and I'm probably dating myself to some of you younger guys that are going to say, what's Cheers? But anybody that's in my older audience knows exactly what I'm talking about. Even when I was a kid, I'd come home. I knew at 4 o'clock Hercules was on, okay? I was in grade 5 or 6 around the time. I'd come running home and I knew 4 o'clock Hercules was on. So it's important to develop a consistent schedule of content production. So make sure that you're aware of who your audience is and what it is that you want to talk about, and consistently upload your content at a regular time. There's some problems with the way the content gets uploaded, and I mean, this would have to be a very long video for me to disclose all of the useful tips that you need, but I try to keep these, public videos around 10 minutes or less and deliver as much impact as possible. So take those tips. I hope that you get some use out of them. More importantly, just do it, guys. If it's something you feel like you need to do, or you have a message that you want to broadcast, that was the original, the original theme of YouTube, believe it or not, was a dating site. But the original concept, once it got traction and they pivoted, was broadcast yourself. So if you have a story, if you have a message, if you have something that you think could be of use to the world, go broadcast yourself. Commit to 15, 20 episodes and see what happens. And last but not least, you will press the upload button many, many times and it'll be crickets. Nobody will watch it except for you and your family that you sent it to. So just understand, it takes a long time. It takes a long commitment. Deliver great value, be consistent, and understand the landscape that YouTube is. YouTube is still one of the best places to get discovered by people. It is either the #1 or the #2 search engine in the world right now that people go looking for answers. So use it to your advantage, and if it's a business that you want to build and you're young in your 20s and you have a message that you'd like to deliver, or if public speaking is something you want to get good at, it's a great place to do it. Go to YouTube, record your videos and upload it. Hope you guys got some value out of this. If you got questions, post them below. I generally only respond to questions the first day that the videos are uploaded. So here's another tip for you guys watching. Make sure you bang the notification bell so you don't miss new uploads when they go out. And again, you want the premium content? Go to Patreon. See you guys later. Peace.